Jesse's leash and we're gonna hit the road. Me and this dog. I'll leave it there and watch her. Stay, Cassie. She's gonna follow me like usual. Okay, something a little bit different for tonight. Different topic, maybe. But I can find a way to make it tie into Pastor Bob and George Magazine somehow. Okay, this doggy's ready to blast off. Here we go. So I guess the topic, at least to kick things off with, is a Marine's perspective, which is my perspective, of course, and how that journey has shaped my music and faith and a whole lot of other things for that matter. Hey, Joshua, Ura, Ellen, Irma, Sheila, May, hello. Yeah, it's had, my journey as a Marine has shaped so many of the things I've been doing since 2015 when I retired. Because obviously it's quite an experience, even just the beginning of it, going through boot camp and the infantry training kind of stuff that we do, and just finishing the crucible and finally getting that Eagle Globe and Anchor put in your hand. And when you're called a Marine, I can tell you there's no feeling like that on earth. I mean, other than, you know, something similar like being a Navy SEAL or whatnot, you know. Being given the title of what a very small percent of the population receives. And it was not easy. It is not easy. But just the feeling of accomplishment, being pushed to your limits, like just day after day, 24 hours a day for 3 months. Yeah, I don't know how to condense that neatly into a quick summary, but you get the idea. One of the ways that it makes me think about how it's impacted my journey and serving all of you after the Marine Corps with this community, other communities I've been a part of, and George Magazine in some ways, is by the time you get through boot camp, by the time you become a Marine, but then for years after that too, the issue of color, different backgrounds, it just gets melted away. And you really learn how to work with different kinds of people and difficult situations, obviously, and kind of make the best out of any situation. And adapt and overcome is one of those Marine Corps phrases that gets used a lot to just kind of remind each other that no matter what comes our way, we will adapt and overcome. We will win the battle once it's all said and done, whatever that is. So, has that had impact on everything I do? Yes, absolutely. Because, I better switch to noise canceling mode, hopefully. I literally got airplanes flying overhead, or helos. And it might be too late for you to catch that. Yeah, he's in the clouds anyway. But so it's had a huge impact on what I do with the channels. Anytime I've come across an issue the last 10 years with sharing certain information and running into roadblocks, there was never the option to just sort of hang it up and say, oh, I'm done, can't do it, can't be done. No. That mindset of adapt and overcome was always there. So maybe I couldn't do what I wanted to at the time, but I found ways around it. So that's what, I guess, in a roundabout way, I try to share with you all, is just that attitude of just keep fighting the good fight and don't give up on the bad days, on the hard days. On the good days, it's easy because everything's just going fine. But when you really feel like you're up against the wall and things aren't working how you want to, that's when you have to put on the armor, grab the shield and the sword, and get to work and just don't give up no matter what. So, I mean, same thing if it was music I was working on. I mean, this goes a little bit into what your personality is and what you want to aspire to. But for me, sure, I could just write contemporary Christian songs, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But I also wanted to write songs that had to do with this movement that we're a part of, to inspire others to just live what they believe, basically, and not be afraid to put it out there. So that's what I did. Has it been the more difficult road? Yes, because if I was doing like some, for lack of better examples, some Michael Jackson cover song, or maybe he's not even a good one, somebody popular, not Christian, secular music, if I did that kind of stuff, I would probably legitimately have twice as many followers on the music side, and it'd be a piece of cake because they're popular songs and because the apps, namely this one, would love them. But when you try to stay on God's path with the music, with the information, then you should already know the kind of road that you're going to be going. Billy Joel, yeah, Irma. And Billy Joel was one of my idols growing up. I learned a lot from learning his songs. I would learn the piano note for note. I had all of his sheet music, all of his albums, and I really loved the variety of styles that he wrote. That really spoke to me about him, because when I wrote a song, I wasn't trying to like write 10 or 12 songs all in one style, like a lot of bands do, most bands. But I would just want to write a song that came in my head, and sometimes something that God gave me clearly. And whatever style of music that was, I was fine with it. So, yeah, I remember telling you that, Irma. So, yeah, Billy Joel was one of my musical idols. But as I grew up, I listened to his words more and more. And then there were some songs where I was like, well, sorry, Billy, we don't agree anymore on a lot of things. But from a musician's perspective and artist's perspective, he has no doubt been one of the best songwriters. And he did write the music and lyrics to pretty much all of his songs, which is, impressive too, because he probably wrote maybe 150, 160. I don't know the exact number, but so anyhow, little tangent there, but let's see. So that's some ways it's affected my journey on this journey, being a Marine, of, yeah, adapt and overcome is really a big keeper in my mindset, because especially like these last 10 years, if you didn't adapt and overcome, you're going to get run over and you're going to give up. And of course, there's no time that would apply more than 2020 and this couple years after it, that we were all pushed up against the proverbial wall. And you either basically did what you were told, or you took a stand in some way. And I mean, it wasn't easy for pretty much any of us, but for me, it only emboldened me. Like the more that I felt like I was getting pushed into doing the things, the more I was going to reject it. And I could tell you a few experiences I had, two at local stores, both convenience stores in my area. One guy tried to put literally was trying to put a thing on my face. And, well, that was the big event. And I did not react so well. I felt a little bit bad about it later, but at the same time, there was just no way that I was going to let anybody do that to me. And it was really a dumb move on his part. And everybody in the store heard how I felt about it. But there was also something with my son's school. I think it was the same year, because that was kind of towards the end of it, when things were kind of really reaching critical point here in California, where, yeah, it was kind of, you had those who were kind of pushing it at the worst amount, right before it kind of fizzled out. And then you had the people like me who were just not going to go along, and we're getting really sick of the whole thing. So I had to go talk to my son's, well, actually it was I forget her title, but she was like the assistant principal. And yeah, there was no way around it. It was a straight up conversation of what we weren't going to do. Hello. Good, how's it going? Okay, sorry about that, friends. Sometimes I catch a neighbor on the sidewalk route, and got to stop and chat. So, speaking of, yeah, it's a nice night, and it's right before dark, so everybody's out. I lost track of where I was at. Yep, Joshua, I'm in Camp Pendleton. So it's more or less San Diego. And it hasn't been hot lately, so it's been really nice. Come here, Cassie. Like September is usually when we get the hot days, a hot couple weeks, but we haven't had too much yet, so I don't know, maybe it's coming soon. Right now, it's still really nice. So, yeah, I don't know. I was going to tie this back into Pastor Bob somehow. But yeah, moving around, living lots of different places, meeting lots of different people and different cultures, experiencing so much just in that 15 years that I served. I mean, you just get such a wide variety of experiences and culture. Well, I did. I was really blessed because I got to serve in Hawaii, Japan, several different islands in the Pacific. Went to China once, not very long. A couple trips to Australia, Indonesia. I mean, there's more, but it does round you out a lot because, for one, you realize that we really are blessed in this country in a lot of ways. But then you also appreciate some things about other cultures that you're like, man, I wish our people were more like that, you know? Like one example I'd give you is living in Japan for about 3 years. I very quickly realized like the kind of work ethic the people generally have in just no matter what they're thinking about you, just the respectfulness and how they treat their elders and things like that. And yeah, they're just, I don't know, I guess I described it well enough already, but that has an effect on you, you know, when you're dropped into a completely different place and culture. Australia was great. I didn't really talk a whole lot to the local people there. I was around them, but yeah, like I said, I lived in Japan for almost 3 years. So there were events and things, other our Japanese musician counterparts to the Marine band, who we did concerts with, talked with, hung out with, and other things, non-military related. So I really got to talk to them more and hang out more, but then just living there longer too. It has a bigger impact on you. But I really loved Okinawa and living there. It was just so far away from home. It wasn't someplace I want to stay permanently, but I didn't want to go there at first at all. But after about 6 or 12 months, kind of like living in Hawaii, I didn't like it at first, but once I got used to it, it was like, man, this is an awesome place. I don't want to leave now. But I did. I wanted to go back home, back to the US. But yeah, Bob was in the Army. We know that. Oh, I was talking about meeting with the assistant principal. Yeah, so all in the span of a couple months. Was that 2022 or 23? I can't remember. I want to say 22. But anyhow, it was somewhere around there, a couple years later after the whole mess started, that we were kind of at that breaking point where people were fed up and the opposing side was still pushing it as much as ever. And up outside the school for testing, and me and my son, we were going to have nothing to do with it. And I reminded him that every day or often, every week before he went to school. But anyhow, it kind of got to a point where, with a little cough, they'd send the kid home for 7 or 10 days or something like that, over nothing. And he could only return sooner with a test, figure, right? And the thing up the nose. So I heard plenty of stuff about that already. So that wasn't going to happen either. And so that's what it came down to. Me going and talking to the assistant principal, whatever her title was, of just how ridiculous it was that, a little sniffle is going to take him out of school for that long. And anyway, of course, she had a boss and she was just abiding what she was supposed to do. But that was the whole problem anyway, is that, it's not an excuse to just be, because it's your job, But it wasn't a very long conversation. I knew that it probably wasn't going to go very far, and also because I kind of had the feeling like things are at the breaking point. It's probably not worth me going too crazy with it. And sure enough, things fizzled out. It seems like the next couple weeks after that, literally. And gradually things kind of got back to normal, or the new normal. But anyhow, that was one of the many things that if I wouldn't have been a Marine, if I wouldn't have dealt with some really difficult situations and knew how to handle myself and knew how to just click into the mindset of, well, I don't care what you think, because I believe I'm doing the right thing by my son in this case, and you're not going to tell me otherwise. I was ready and able to do that. I didn't want to do that. I'm not the kind of person to, ruin somebody's day. But if that's what it came down to, then that's what was going to happen. And I probably did in some way ruin her morning, because I'm sure I wasn't the only one who talked to her, and nobody wants to have that conversation or be put in that position. But that's the thing. If it was me, if I was the assistant principal, I would have already probably quit my job, walked away, and told them how screwed up things were, because I would rather live true to myself and what I think than do the opposite for a paycheck. I've told stories before about being kind of homeless for a little while. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that was the same thing. It wasn't fun, but it was me proving to myself that I would rather have no money and be in that kind of situation than just do what people tell me because they think they're right, whatever it is. So lots of craziness, lots of tangents, I guess I went on. But like I was doing on one of my other channels this morning, I just really want to encourage you all to, if you got something you want to speak out and say, to do it. And don't be afraid, because that's the kind of principle and strength our country was founded on. And I really do think that so many of these things that we're going through, although uncomfortable, painful, really testing our patience, and other things, it's forcing us out of our comfort zones in a good way and getting us back to those roots that we never should have gotten away from in the first place. So, sorry, kind of serious topic. Cassie's still right here, but I think I better wrap it up there. It's about my 30-minute mark, and that usually means dinner time too. I didn't keep up with your comments, Irma. But thank you. Yep, and the Lord is there. He's our helper. When we ever get in those situations, we don't know what to do, we can always go to him. So we have to keep that in mind. Okay, I'll wrap it up there. You guys all have a good one. Trying to keep the live streams going every day, especially since I haven't really had time to do as many videos lately, but I keep promising we'll get back to more Pastor Bob and some George Live recap stuff soon. So, all right, thanks, Joshua, Irma, everybody. Take care. I will see you all again very soon. Over and out. Take care and God bless.